So, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dear colleagues and friends. Today we are going to start the teaching module. The teaching module will be in two sessions. The first session today will give a quick introduction about the template of the teaching module, how to go through the teaching module, and we'll do 5 tasks for today. And the next session, inshallah, we will continue the remaining part of the PDF and the remaining part of the module. If I will say that the teaching module is the best in the exam, I will be biased because I love teaching and I love the teaching module. Each session I'm telling you this is the easiest module, this is the best module, but honestly, this is the best for me. I love this one, and all the scenarios are possible in the teaching module. From all the modules, from medical disorders, from antenatal care, from core surgical skills, from urogyne, from all the modules you can have the task of teaching. So here I mentioned some of the possible tasks here, but it doesn't mean that anyone from these tasks will come or any other task from whatever the module or whatever the name of the task will not come. You can expect any teaching task in the exam. So you can expect urodynamics, Besser's episiotomy, mechanism of labor, so many, but we will concentrate on the tasks that will appear on the Osler exam. So in the Osler exam, you will face tasks which are paperwork or tasks which will not need any probes or mannequins. There is no hands-on on the possible scenarios that will come on the Osler online examination. So you can have feedback session like the GP letter, like the discharge letter, operation sheet, or the consent form. Also the MDT letter, which again reappears in the exam in the last November. So any scenario you can expect in the teaching module. The first and the most important thing is to be aware of the situation. The situation, you will have the scenario here, and your agenda in the exam, your agenda during the task will be during the next 10 minutes, you are expected to. So this will be your agenda. So for example, in this task is telling you have to mention or explain what is shoulder dystocia. You have to explain what are the signs suggestive of shoulder dystocia at delivery, explain to the trainee the actions and maneuver to be done, and enable the trainee to practice hands-on. So in some of the teaching tasks, your life will be very easy because he's giving you the agenda. So follow the agenda, follow the points in the agenda, and definitely you will pass. The template in the teaching module include introduction. Introduction, this is your colleague. Whatever the task, you have to enter the station or start your task with a big smile. Start with a big smile and end the task with a big smile again. So there is no way here to start a task with your colleague and with a sad smile or neutral face. Always be happy in this task. Then after introduction, you have to make a review and check for polling. This is a very important point of safety. You have to put an emphasis on the importance of the topic. This will explain how you understand the topic, and this will encourage your colleague to be involved in the discussion. You are telling him you choose a very good topic for the discussion, he will be happy. This will be very important point in the communication. Check for the background knowledge. From here, you will know from where to start in the task. Either you need to start from the very early beginning from the definition, or you need to build on the information that the trainee already knows. Agenda, again, the agenda, either have the agenda in the task, or you will simply ask the trainee, what do you expect to come out with today? Here, the role player will tell you what are the points that you will be marked during the task. Start your session. Always, this is not lecture, so you have to check for understanding, invite him to ask any questions, and keep encouraging him during the session. Finally, after finishing, you have to make a learning plan, ask the trainee or ask the role player for his feedback about the session, and close the session again with a big smile. This is the template for the teaching module. 12 points. If you follow these points, you will have a very good performance in this task. The good part of the teaching module that you are most probably will be evaluated in the communication with colleagues, the patient safety, and the applied clinical knowledge. Most probably you will have only 3 domains in this task. But sometimes you may have some tasks like today's task about how to take a consent. There will be a point of communication with patient and families, and there will be also information gathering from an unqualified learner. So these are the domains. If you have the good start and you end the task in the same way in the template, most probably you will pass in the communication. And at least you will have a borderline in the safety, but your mark in the clinical knowledge will depend on your knowledge or your background about the task which appear in the exam. So again, situation awareness, who you are. This is the point that I was just asked about it. I am Trur without doctor. I am the ST5. Here you can say ST5 because this is your colleague. Now, if the junior colleague is new in the unit, or he may not be in the same department, like today's, we are going to discuss the task for sexual assault. In the sexual assault, the junior colleague will be from the emergency department. So he is not from the OB/GYN department. So you cannot ask him how things are going in the department. Do you feel supported? This is not in the same department. You'll offer him support, but in a different way. If he's going for the exam, ask for the exam. But try to explore the point of bullying or undermining, because your colleague may be under form of stress, and again, we'll have in the next session one bullying and undermining is task. If not written, you may ask him how things are going so far, or how's your training is going so far. If you don't know what's the real situation of the ST1 or whatever the junior colleague, ask him how things are going with you so far, or how's your training is going so far. Your agenda, have 10 minutes. During the exam, either the Osler or during the online exam, write down your notes, what you are going to do in the agenda. The task will reflect your applied clinical knowledge. So there is no way, if you don't know anything about the task here, you can escape. Actually, the only point that will be affected in the teaching task, if you don't know, will be the clinical knowledge. But the communication and the safety, still you can manage to pass in these 2 domains. If there is no complete agenda, if there is no agenda written in the task, please ask your colleague, what do you want to come out with today? Ask him about his concerns or his interest, what he wants to come out today from the task. For example, in this task, you have 10 minutes during which you have to review the consent, you have to explain the principle of obtaining a valid consent, and you have to support the trainee in their ongoing education. So you have a clear agenda here. So follow these points, definitely you will pass in this task. What you need to do in the communication, again, produce yourself. And again, this is a very common feedback from the examiners, that under the stress of the exam, the candidates will forget to introduce themselves and where they are. Eye-to-eye contact, either face-to-face or online exam, please. The only way on online exam for your communication will be the face-to-face or the eye-to-eye contact. There is no body language in the online examination. Taboo and friendly environments. Please always remember to say hello Be happy while you are introducing yourself to your colleague. These are all marked in the teaching task, especially if there is lay examiner. Again, explain the purpose of the session and put an emphasis. Take the background knowledge. Taking the background knowledge, if you have a domain of information gathering in the teaching task, the background knowledge will be the part for the information gathering. Ask him, what do you know about the task? This will be considered as a borderline point in the information gathering domain if it is present in the teaching task. Again, put an agenda and start your session. During the session, use simple language, chunk, not junk. And here, the jargons are allowed. This is, yes, he is simulated patient, but he's simulating your colleague. So jargons here are allowed. Always check the understanding and invite questions. If there is props or mannequins, hands-on has to be there. If you did not use the props or mannequins provided to you during the task, this is a borderline from the beginning, and it will be impossible that you will take pass in this domain if you didn't use it. The online examination, if you have diagrams, use it. If you have table, use it. So diagrams and tables on the online examination, you have to use it. During the discussion, always appraise your junior colleague and avoid the blaming or humiliating atmosphere. At the end, asking the colleague for feedback and offer articles and another discussion. Here in the teaching task, you are offering articles, not patient information leaflet. Patient information leaflet for the patient. For your colleague, it will be articles and offer him another discussion. The patient safety. Usually the safety will be related to each scenario, but clinical knowledge plays a role in this task. There are general points. Asking or checking for bullying or undermining is a point of safety. If you didn't ask about this point, it will be considered as a borderline in the patient safety. If you are in emergency situation, like example, in the neonatal resuscitation or in the forceps or vacuum, you need to ask for help. Ask for consent before obstetric procedures and exam. WHO surgical safety checklist, safety precautions, proper analgesia, explore for episiotomy or any tears. If you are going to give him a session about postpartum hemorrhage or third or fourth degree perineal tear, swabs and needles after surgeries has to be counted, amount of estimated loss, and when intervene during the session when the role player made a mistake. Always, this is not only related to the teaching module, it is related to all the modules. Only give the correct information that you are sure that the information is correct. Please do not invent an answer from your mind. If you don't have the answer, you will ask the consultant or you will search in the literature and you come back to him. But please don't invent an answer. Inventing a wrong answer will be considered as a borderline again in the safety. Borderline here and borderline for not checking the bullying or undermining, you will have fail in the safety despite you mentioned all other points in the right way. Clinical knowledge, again, relevant to the task. Always give the information evidence-based. If you don't know the information, don't invent it, please. Information gathering, asking about the background, as we mentioned before, and identify what the junior colleague understands from the discussion and what are their concerns from the discussion and how you are going to address these concerns in an appropriate manner. Sometimes, like in the task today for preeclampsia, you will need to take a brief targeted history. Some scenarios, you need to take a history, so there will be information gathering domain. The competent candidate in the teaching task will ensure that the junior understood what they have been taught, able to assimilate it, and can repeat when asked points in the task. So this is a competent candidate. He will cover all the domains here he will check the understanding for the junior colleague, and he can perform the simulation of the teaching task, and he can answer the requested questions from him. Again, this is the plan, or this is the agenda for the consent task. You have a clear agenda here, but here in another task, you will not have a clear agenda. He's only telling you, you have 10 minutes to teach the techniques for cable vacuum delivery in such case. So here, to put an agenda, ask the role player, what do you expect to come out today? Or what are your concerns today? Or what do you need to come out from the teaching session today? He will give you the points, because by the end, just remember that this is a role player. He's non-medical personnel. He has a scenario, and he is studying this scenario, and he knows the points that he needs to ask you. In the role player instructions, and I will come to this today, I put the role player instruction for one of the tasks. The role player will be asked, if the candidate did not mention it, ask him the following questions. So it will be very good attitude to ask the role player from the beginning, what do you need to come out today? He will give you the main points in the task, and you will know how to put your agenda. Besides the boss introduction, you are not a senior. Don't say I'm one of the senior doctors. I'm the ST5. I'm the ST5. Bo and Bolling, nice to meet you. Things are going in the department. How's your training is going so far? How's your study going for the exam? And offer him help and support if he's going. These are the ways how to check for bullying or undermining. The situation awareness. If he's in the same department, how it is going so far. I can see that you are about to start your own calls. Don't worry. All of us are going to support you. I see you are about to have your exams. All the best. This is the way how to welcome your colleague and how to start making a good rapport with him. If he's from another department, there is no place for these questions. Just set a friendly environment and offer him the help and support he wants. Confirm the aim of the meeting and put an emphasis again. I believe that you want to learn about shoulder dystocia today. Is that right? Why you want to learn about this topic specifically? Again, now you are checking for bullying or undermining again. Why you want this topic specifically? Because you want it by yourself, or someone is pushing you or putting you under pressure, or he's humiliating you, or he's undermining you. That's why you are here today, to learn about this topic specifically. So this question is very important also as another point to exclude bullying or undermining. Perfect. That's a very good choice. Put an emphasis on the importance of the topic, and then explore the concern and the background. This is a point of information gathering. What do you know about shoulder dystocia? Ever assisted in delivery of a baby who had shoulder dystocia before? This is the background of the candidate. If, for example, it is a case of discharge summary of ectopic, you will ask him, do you follow the patient? Do you have enough information about that patient? This is again will be considered a point of information gathering and background knowledge for the task. The agenda, again, what we are going to do today, I will tell you what is the definition of whatsoever, what is the indication for this instrument, things to be sure about it before starting. Then I will demonstrate the procedure for you, and we will start hands-on, and anything else you want to come or you expect to come out today with. Again, this question is very important to know the hidden agenda of the task and to know the points from the role player that you are going to take a mark in it. If nothing is written in the task, again, the same questions. I'm repeating myself, but this is very important, and these questions are very important to take a mark from this task, which is very easy to take. At the end of the session, again, provide him with articles or videos and another session. If there is props, use it. Again, this will be a critical point in the task. If there is lay examiner and you didn't show him that you are using the props, everything on the desk in the exam, if you are going for face-to-face, has to be used. Anything has to be used. Tissues, gloves, whatsoever, it is there for a purpose. If you are on online examination and there is table, there is diagram, there is whatsoever, it is there for a purpose. So please use it. If there is operation notes, if there is discharge summary, this has to be used during the explanation. If you do not use the provided tool to help you during the teaching session, you will have a borderline in the communication, whatever you will do in the task. While carrying the procedure, talk during the time, explain and talk, so you will save your time, because there will be a problem in the time management in this task. Again, chunk, not jump. Don't deliver a lecture. Always ask if he has any questions, or if he is understanding, or if you are clear or no. And frequently ask, is it clear? Any question so far? Do you want me to repeat any point? And do not forget to appraise him. If he mentioned anything right, please say excellent, perfect. Excellent and perfect is enough, and it did the job. No need to mention long phrases like you are a perfect learner, you are a fast learner. Just say excellent, perfect. This will do the job. If he asked a question, start, yes, this is a very good job, Sam. Encourage him to speak and to ask. If he asked you a question and you don't know the answer, again, don't invent an answer. It will be borderline in the technical knowledge. The role player will be instructed to do some mistakes or to invent a wrong answer during the task. Please do not undermine him. Do not blame him. Do not stop him or catch his hand if you are going for face-to-face examination. Instead, you can say, you said it really well, or you did it really well, but let me tell you a safer way or a better way to do it. This will be the way to communicate with your colleague or with the role player if he make any mistakes during the session. If you manage to finish before the time, which is unusual, consider repeating the procedure. Ask the colleague the feedback at the end. How did you find the session today? Anything that can make it better? Then close the session and make a learning plan. Learning plan, I will provide you with articles, with videos, with some courses, and I can arrange another session if you wish. Thank you for your time, and have a lovely day. Again, big smile. So start with a big smile and close the teaching task with a big smile. Last slide today, it will be about the hidden agenda. Sometimes, and remember this rule, if you find 2 teaching tasks in the exam, means there is one of them colleague under pressure. There is one of them colleague under pressure. So there will be one task undermining or bullying, and the other task will be a normal teaching task. So in any teaching task, please always remember to check for bullying or undermining. Hidden agenda, usually an odd station, and we'll have in the next session how to proceed in the odd station. We'll have an undermining or bullying of colleague who's asking about the odd ratio. Usually colleague in trouble, he will act weird, or suddenly she will cry. That Renee will act in hurry. He wants to finish as soon as possible. It's not interacting, it's avoiding the eye contact. This means a complete twist in the station. You need to forget about what you need to do and concentrate on supporting him and giving him advice. Again, repeated task or repeated recall in the exams, and it appears on the online and on face-to-face exam. Colleague who just finished some procedure and he's asking you to sign his OSAT. In all the scenarios that appears before, he did the task or he did the procedure in wrong way, still he's not competent, but he's asking you to sign his OSAT. You can sign OSAT as an ST5. Yes, you can sign an OSAT. You can sign formative and you can sign summative OSAT. So if he did the procedure in a wrong way and he is coming to sign the OSAT, you will answer him, I understand your enthusiasm, but as your supervisor, it is very important for me to make sure that you are a safe doctor. I'm afraid I cannot sign you off at the moment. I can sign now that you are working toward this competency. So you will sign the OSAT, but you will sign the OSAT as he is still working towards his competency. So in the OSAT, you have either competent or working towards his competency. This is a polite way to tell him that you are still not competent in doing this procedure. So to solve the conflict, yes, you can sign the OSAT, you can sign the formative and the summative OSAT, but you will sign as he's competent or he's still working towards competency. Before you, if he asked you, can I do the procedure myself? Before being allowed to carry any procedure, you need to first observe, then assist, and finally do it under supervision. I will happily sign your formative OSAT when you can perform it again. If the junior is coming to sign a summative OSAT, he cannot ask you to sign a formative. If you didn't sign, or if you signed him the OSAT, the summative OSAT, as he's working towards competency, and now he's asking you to sign another form for formative OSAT, no, this will be in another session, that the agreement from the start will be he's coming for formative OSAT. At this point, you can sign for him. Only after being competent, you will be signed off by 3 summative OSATs, at least one signed by the consultant, then you can do it your own. So if he's asking you, can I do it myself? Your answer will be, before being allowed to carry out the procedure, you need to first observe, then assist, and finally do it under supervision. Only after being signed off by 3 summative OSAT, at least one by a consultant, then you can do it your own. So 2 questions here, if you can sign my OSAT, and if I can do the procedure myself. These are repeated questions, and there is a conflict about the answers here. Again, probes or mannequins has to be used. Any doll, any pelvis, any whatever, you have to use it. The examiner will be expecting you to use the equipment to illustrate the points that you are making. If you are going for face-to-face, you need to use the diagrams. The examiner will be expecting you to use the diagrams. Diagrams will be considered as a borderline in the communication, either with your junior colleague or with the patient. If you are not using the diagram, mean borderline in the communication, whatever you will do. Also, if you are going for online, for face-to-face exams, the simulated trainee has to use the probes also. Unless they have the chance to handle the probes, it is unlikely that you will pass the domain. Again, I repeated it so many times, so you have no excuse now to miss this point, either for face-to-face or for online exam. For those who are going for face-to-face exam, ensure that you are familiar with the equipment, with the procedures that needs probes or mannequins. If you are working in a place that doesn't have certain instrument or procedure, you have to watch the strategy videos that I put on the drive, or you have to attend any course to fill the gap in your knowledge. So this was the teaching template, how to proceed in the teaching task. I hope it clears some points. As I told you, this will be the start of our session. Then we will continue, inshallah, in another recording. Thank you so much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.